everybody. I forgot to add the video. Oh, well. Hey, it's CWK Live. I'm Dan Zayer, your host. Thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Welcome, friends. Minta is here. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Minta, you and Mary are always right on it, so I really appreciate that. Mary, happy Monday to you. Hello, Jason. Good to see all of you here on CWK Live. Brian, what's up, man? This is the Monday you are looking for. It's great to see you, Brian. Great to see all of you. I don't know about where you live, but here in Illinois, we've got 3 days of extreme heat. I'm talking 105, 110 with a heat index. So it's a good time to be inside, talk about Star Wars with your best buddies. So that is exactly what we are going to do on tonight's show. Tonight's show, oh, no, I don't have that. Tonight's show is going to be all about some fun stuff, naturally. We're going to talk about your top 5 moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4. We've got some Star Wars news, and of course, your comments and questions. Blake is here as well. Hello, Blake. Good to see you, buddy. Josh says we just finished extreme heat. Josh, what is the extreme heat like in your neck of the woods? For us, as I said, the heat is 110, but it's so humid here. That's the trick. That's what I like about California, no humidity. Mary says we do West Virginia as well. 90s today, mid-90s for the rest of the week until Friday. Scorcher, yikes. So Josh says 95. That is hot. Woof. Well, we got to keep things cool. Let's take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. Got some more friends here. Jamie is here. Hello, Jamie. Great to have you back on the show. Liberty is here as well. Liberty, I really like your Facebook profile picture of Moses Ingram. That's cool. Hello to you. Josh says it felt like the Midwest. Ooh, well, I mean, I like the Midwest. Did a lot of great things from you. I much prefer the weather overall out west. That's for sure. All right, so what's brewing this week? I tell you what. When I see announcements of the retro collection, I about lose my mind, like in a great way. I'm very excited about them. So we've got a bunch of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, the retro line. Now these all went on sale last Wednesday. No, it was Thursday. Thursday, it was at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So they usually announce the new stuff on Wednesdays, and Thursdays the pre-sale. So we had Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the retro line is great because it's the 3 3/4 inch size that we like so much from when we were younger. And this one has the cloth robe. And then you've got the lightsaber. This is not the telescoping lightsaber like the olden days, but like the ones they had for Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. And then the one of him from Dagobah in the Empire Strikes Back 1980 version. So there's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Really cool looking figure. And look at this guy. So what's great about this is you've got Darth Vader, and it says the Dark Times. That's what it's coded as, where he's from in Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he's got a red tint to his visor or his line of view, and then it's got a bit different of a material for the cape. It's not the vinyl cape like the classic Darth Vader, and then it's got a lightsaber like the one I showed you before with Obi-Wan. Now, to give you some perspective on this, I have in my hand, I'm going to flip the... Jason said, I never lived to see the day where there's an Obi-Wan figure wearing a blaster. I know, isn't that so cool? So take a look at that. Take a really good look at that Vader. All right, so now this is in my hand. This is the Vader one, the classic Vader one. But you see you've got a vinyl cape, and you've got the telescoping lightsaber here. So you just slide his arm, and then the lightsaber comes out. It's got that great plastic tip right there. So that's how they always were until 1980 when they made a Dagobah one. So see, this is how he looks, the classic Vader. And then when this new version of him that they're selling from Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's still a very similar sculpt, but it's got a cloth cape instead of the vinyl, and it's got a different lightsaber, and then it's got a different, the helmet is different too. So it's so cool. Mary says, Jason, so uncivilized. That's right, Obi-Wan with that blaster. It's great. There's another look at that Vader. I mean, to me, this is a home run. I mean, look at that. That really looks like the one I just showed you, the classic retro one, based on the 1977 1977 Darth Vader, or 1978 when it came out. Here's the Inquisitor. This is the Grand Inquisitor. Again, it's got that retro styling. And just spoiler, I'm going to show you only the retro stuff because I just love the retro stuff. There is another great image of the Inquisitor. He's got a vinyl cape, which is really exciting. And again, these are cool because these retro ones are made as if you were to imagine this is the 1977 or 1980 or 1983 carded Kenner Star Wars action figures. But you've got newer figures and you've got newer technology, newer sculpts, but still the 5 points of articulation, the classic vinyl cape. Blake says the cape makes it a must-have even if you have the retro Vader with the vinyl cape. Exactly. It's just really cool. Flashback inducing. It so is. Now here's the fifth brother. Same thing. You've got the retro packaging and styling. It even has on the left and right, it's got like a worn look to it, even though they're brand new. That's just the design itself. There's one outside of the box. You got those great high boots there, and then very similar lightsaber, which is cool because they didn't really go out of their way to make it look the hilts of the classic Star Wars Kenner figures. They didn't go out of their way to make these hilts look like they were screen accurate. It was just the fun of having them. Now, this last one is pretty fun too. I must say I was a little reluctant to order this one just because, I don't know, I mean, I've tried to stay away from being a completist over the past couple years because I've gotten rid of so much stuff. But, I mean, Ned, NED8 or Ned 8, the lifter droid from part 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi is really cool. And I really like that his accessory, and there's a great scene in there where he's got his hammer. And now this figure's a little bit bigger, but see, there's the hammer that he comes with. I would like to see, and maybe we will someday, a young Leia figure. I think that would be great. There's a lot of other great figures in this one, in this series as well. So yeah, when I see retro, you can believe that I'm absolutely going to place an order. So I did place a pre-order. I will try my best to post affiliate links because usually I will get links to these pre-orders before they come out and try to post them to you so that you have, the best chance possible to order these. Yes, they're affiliate links. Of course, it does help me out, but it also is a great way for you to get a jump on these figures anyway. Blake says there's something special about the retro series droids. Yeah, they're just cool. I think, Blake, ultimately that's why I didn't resist. Now, did any of you opt to get these things? Did any of you opt to get any of them? I'd be interested to see. Oh, not part 3, part 4. So today's top 5 moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi, part 4. Part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was, we did our review already, so I think we're pretty well caught up on that. I'm going to try to record these reviews the days that these episodes come out, but it's definitely different than part 3, but to me extremely important. Some great character stuff. Again, we talked all about it on Coffee with Kenobi this week. Josh says he refrained. I think that's okay. You can't get everything. There's only so much room for all this stuff. So yeah, last week we talked about part 3, and this week we broke down part 4. Part 4 was a real thrill for me because I got to talk about it with Jeff McGee, my buddy from Talking Toys with Taylor and Jeff and Marvin Dog Media. But I also got to talk about it with Brian DeSutter. He works with me at the high school where I work at. It was his first time ever being on a podcast. I thought he did a great job, but I was really proud of him. Dave did not order the retro Obi-Wan figures. Really? Dave, I got to say, buddy, I'm shocked. You are Mr. Action Figure. So I mentioned, are you more focusing on Black Series stuff, or what was your thought process? I think that's fascinating because we basically have the Black Series 6-inch. We've got the retro figures that I love. And then you've got the vintage line, which is basically similar to it is a 3 3/4 inch line. They have older school packaging, but the sculpts are much newer and much more modern. Whereas the retro are not. They're like flashbacks. Let's jump into part 4. Oh, Dave's more 6-inch. It's wise, my friend. Specialized for sure. Number 5 for me of top 5 things about Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 4 is not particularly insightful or revelatory in the overall scope of things, but they had snow speeders. They didn't call them snow speeders. They called them by their model number, but having snow speeders in this episode was so cool. When I heard that familiar hum, you just instantly feel safe, like Obi-Wan Kenobi's going to make it naturally. He's going to make it because we know how the story goes, but I really like seeing those snow speeders pop up and save the day was wonderful to me. Number 5 for Minta Tala putting subordinates in their place. She doesn't joke around when it comes to any mission, even undercover. So Tala is another one. I love to have a retro figure of Tala, but that is a great call, Minta. She's a cool character. Speaking of that, Mary sings her praises too. She says, Tala's skill at talking her way into the facility, taking care of the officer, calling her away from the console, and then being the distraction for Obi-Wan so he can get Leia out of the interrogation room. You know what, Mary and Minta, you're so right on, and that's going to be in my list later as well. Josh says the T-47s are great, plus they can hover. Exactly, which was super cool. And thank you for giving me the official call sign, or the types of ships themselves. Jason and Henrik are here, of course. Jason's number 5, seeing a live-action Terra Sanub. You know, it was really bittersweet. Yeah, for sure. That was definitely shocking. Henrik's number 5 is young Leia in general. Just having young Leia there is great. Great stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into number 4. We have quite a few people here, but not everybody's adding their list, which is totally fine. Number 4 for me is just Vader. Look, maybe that's kind of a cheat, but Vader is, super cool. Speaking of Vader, remember Star Wars I Am Your Father, my latest book I co-wrote with Amy Rakow, is now out at Amazon, Target, Walmart, Books A Million, anywhere you can get books. You can find it. It's a great Father's Day gift, by the way. Some great stuff there. But I put Vader just because it's just cool to see him. Look, it's still cool to see him. He doesn't do much in this episode, but just knowing that he's there with Hayden Christensen as Vader just makes me just excited as a Star Wars fan. So I definitely put that. There are a lot of heavier ones, which I'll get to, but just having Vader is just great. And with James Earl Jones, just fantastic. Josh's 5 was Leia's interrogation because today is the Miranda option. They gave us Miranda rights. Oh, how perfect. How perfect. And of course, you would know that being the expert that you are. Jamie's number 5. Obi-Wan holding back the glass until just the right moment. This seemed to be a turning point in him restoring his force powers. I hope so. And Jamie, I'd be interested to see what you thought about my interpretations of that scene in this week's Coffee with Kenobi, because I think there's a lot there. Brian's number 5 is the interrogation of Leia. Definitely very powerful. Number 4 for Minta. Leia keeping her cool. Reva tried every which way to break her and give her important intel, but she kept on a brave front as well as her wit, which we would expect from Leia Organa, which is so cool. Jason's number 4. Leia reaching out and a comforting hand to Obi-Wan and the connection between them. Henrik's number 4 is Leia's sass. Yes, the sass is strong with her, and I think it's pretty great. Liberty's 5. Excuse me. This series is really killing it for me with the use of darkness versus light. Beautiful lightsaber in the dark, only the red and blue lights. So cool, right? I'm going to talk about that later too. It's great stuff. Number 4 for Murray. Both Ben and Vader in the Bacta tanks. Seems like there was a connection between them again. How upsetting it was to Ben explains it all. Yes, again. Lots to discuss with that one. Josh is number 4. Tala playing spy. She did a lot of the heavy lifting. She did, and I was worried about her because we don't know what her fate is going to be, so it definitely makes you nervous. Number 4 for Blake, the Jedi Tomb. Then on top of the Jedi saber seen collected by the Inquisitors in some scenes shows how deadly they have been. It's true, they're awful, and I'm interested to see who these characters are that are actually in there. Jamie's number 4, the lighting. Yes. While it caught my attention during the fire scene in episode 3, I made a point to focus on the light and dark, and particularly liked how igniting his lightsaber impacted the otherwise pitch dark room. Look, the lighting in this is genius. Absolute genius. It's just a masterclass. Liberty says, I'm with Mary on number 4. The Bacta tanks in the mirror between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Really powerful stuff. Brian's number 4. Tala using her position to interrupt Reva's interrogation. Yes, and thank goodness she did, right? Thank goodness that she did. Let's go ahead and jump into number 3. Number 3 for me is also Tala. Tala's resilience. She is such a force of nature, such a powerhouse. The ability to not be intimidated, to keep her cool under pressure, to think, like I said, under pressure, and just her way and her strength and her vulnerability, or just great to see. She's a great character, a really, really welcome addition to this galaxy, and I hope we get to see a lot more of her for sure. Let's see. Mary's number 3. Vader, his anger alone can make even the most stubborn of Inquisitors kneel before him. Yeah, he's scary. Vader is scary, scary, scary. And they're not going to mess around with him. And even Reva, there's clearly something, I don't know, she obviously knows how important Vader is. So I'm interested to see if we learn more about what's going on there. Jason's number 3. Tal's bravery and sacrifice in distracting Reva long enough for Obi-Wan to rescue Leia. Henrik's number 3, the Inquisitor's base on the water moon. Very reminiscent of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, too. Josh is number 3. Kenobi getting his groove back. He comes out of the tank with purpose and determination. I agree. I still don't think he's quite all in on the Force yet, fully connected, but he's getting close. Closer. Number 3 for Blake, the Imperial base itself. It was very unique with its underwater setting and was very cool. Very cool. I love that so much. Mary's number 3. Is this a staring contest? Leia showing her old soul and sass with the interrogation. I love that you put old soul in quotes, but I agree with you. It's really cool. Brian's number 3, just like Blake. The Jedi Tomb. I want to see each and every Jedi in there. Wonder how many more in other places. I wonder if they would have shown Master Luminara linked to Rebels. Ooh, interesting, Brian. Very interesting. And since the story group is all over this thing, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, right? Jamie's number 3, similar to Mary's. What is this, a staring contest? If that's not the Princess Leia we know, then I don't know what it is. I know they're really nailing her. I mean, the acting is great. She's a wonderful actor. I think the dialogue and the script itself is really terrific too. Liberty's number 3, Star Wars leading ladies. Leia. Is this a staring contest? Reva. It was taken from me like everything else. Tell him making the subordinate call her sir. Yeah, that was cool. There's some great Star Wars leading ladies in this episode, good and bad, as far as the characters and where they align with things, whether they're with the side of good, even though they're not calling it the rebellion yet. We're still a ways from the rebellion forming naturally, as we know from Star Wars Rebels. But it's still fun to see. And Tala is awesome. That's why she's my number 3 as well. I'm going to move on to number 2. So, because we only got 2 left, but if you have any more that you haven't mentioned yet, please feel free to chime in, and I will be happy to share them here on Coffee with Kenobi. Number 2 for me is the Rescue of Leia. What I mean by this specifically, I mean, pretty much the whole episode is a rescue. I get that, for sure. And it's awesome. But particularly when he's in that scene, and there's a couple of stormtroopers, and he ignites a lightsaber, takes out the one stormtrooper, extinguishes his lightsaber, goes to the other one, does the same thing. But as I said on Coffee with Kenobi this week, it doesn't appear like there's just a lot of hack and slash, slice and dice and move on. It's not fully force generated, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure that's going to come, obviously. But it's just him kind of getting back into things and using his resources and falling back on that Jedi training. Plus, again, the lighting, like Liberty and others have mentioned, of the red and blue is just so cool. So cool. I love that. It's great to see. And I hope we get a lot more of that. It's just a great sequence for sure. Let's see. Mita. Number 2, it's not a fortress, it's a tomb. This scene made my heart drop when I saw former Jedi and Force users pinned up like butterflies. Ooh, that's a good comparison. And a twisted collection, but I think it took that to get Obi-Wan to tap on his old Jedi skills again. Yeah, that was a great scene. Many of you have mentioned that. It was very powerful. Very well presented, too. Josh is too. Kenobi rescuing Leia from the torture chamber. The blue lighting in the dark and the remaining troop trying to talk tough. Pure Star Wars. Pure Star Wars. That was great stuff. That was my number 2 as well. Speaking of, Blake and Josh and I have the same. Kenobi's taking out those 2 troopers in the dark room. Was a great use of the light from the saber with the darkness of the environment. Just so powerful. I love that. I love that so much. And in fact, I agree. That's peak Star Wars. Jason's number 2. Leia's strength and will in resisting Reva's mind probe. And Henrik's number 2. Obi-Wan moves with his lightsaber. Yeah. Again, some great highlight moments from these characters that we know and love and appreciate. Let's see. Mary's number 2. The tombs were disturbing. It was obvious they affected Obi-Wan strongly. You know he had to know many, if not all, of the Jedi in there, I'm sure. That's a good point, Mary. I hadn't thought about that. Josh says, I think Kenobi uses the Force getting across the room. Oh, maybe. He might. It'd be interesting to see if they ever comment on that. Brian's 2. Leia's response to Reva, is this a staring contest? Reminded me of Poe versus Kylo in episode 7, Who Talks First. Oh, yeah. There you go. That's a great connection, too. Dave's number 2. The Vader in this series has been amazing, so much more than I expected. All the characters really incredible casting. You know what? I've liked Vader a lot, too. Vader is my favorite character. Although, I'm interested to see how I'm going to feel when the series is over. But he's phenomenally done. And just great fun and powerful and frightening all the way around. Daniel, love seeing Kenobi come back and using his lightsaber deflection techniques, which he's a master of. Yes, Daniel. And I am glad whenever Daniel comments on Kenobi, I'm happy because of the amazing cosplay that Daniel has and his love for the character. Jamie, and I really like how you say this, a tale of two Bacta tanks. Comparing Obi-Wan's new injuries to Vader's existing injuries and missing limbs was as powerful imagery as I've seen in a long time. A great juxtaposition, a great comparison, great kind of a side-by-side there. Number 2 for Liberty. Reva's words to Leia could have been spoken to herself. Cannot wait to get her full backstory, but there's so much hurt there, so much pain. The people you're trying to protect are not coming for you. The only person that can save you now, Leia, is you. Let's see, where else? These people, they will leave you to die. Yeah. Reva plays hardball, and Leia doesn't flinch. Or, I mean, I'm sure it's bugging her on the inside, but she's determined to show that, making her strong and effective. And again, all the groundwork is being laid here to see, who she is and where she comes from and why she's the powerhouse that she is. As it is many times, writing the Star Wars book, one of the best things that came out of that for me was learning more about Leia and thinking about how she is. And I really enjoyed writing her entry. And seeing all these things here is a great reminder of what kind of character that she actually is. All right. It is time for the number one thing. Memorable moments about part 4 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. For me, it's the Bacta juxtaposition. A few of you have talked about it already. Jamie just mentioned it. But seeing Vader in there, clearly he's been in there for 10 years. And it's the best that you can possibly do, considering the massive, extensive brutality of his injuries. Obi-Wan's are fresh. He will recover. He is fully intact as far as how he came into the world. But to see him psychologically and emotionally being affected by this, and almost like the force link between them, if that is there, again, we have no necessary direct knowledge that they know what's going on with each other, because we don't know that. But the Deborah Chow is showing us the comparisons there as well. I mean, it's hard not to think, based on how Obi-Wan reacts emotionally, that he's very aware of Vader and what he goes through. But again, when Obi-Wan says he's more machine now than man, twisted and evil, if he is seeing the things like we think he's seeing, no wonder he feels that way. So I thought it was a really smart scene right off the bat, too. Blake's number 1, Tala. I think she's the most interesting character of the series so far. Wow. The combat scenes with her were a bit off this week, but she's the only one whose safety I worried about the most so far. Given we don't know how she's going to end up. Amazing actress and character. I agree, Blake. And that's the power of the drama here. Because we know about Obi-Wan and Leia. We know where they're going to go and what they're going to do. But we don't know how they're going to get there. But with Tala, we don't know anything. So you get nervous for her. Meantime, number 1, Kenobi's back. Seeing him ignite his lightsaber and take out the stormtroopers was invigorating. And despite that he was still a little rusty using the Force, he was able to hold the window together just long enough for Tala and Leia to make a getaway. It was so cool, so powerful. Josh, there one hallway fight with threats from 2 directions, lightsaber action at its best. Kenobi holding back the shattering glass and flooding water, and after the hallway floods, you can see fish swimming with the dead stormtroopers. I know, it's just the great effects. Again, shameless plug, but I commented on this sequence on the show this week, and I feel like there's a lot of metaphor there, especially with water and him resisting. I just think there's some important stuff. Jamie's number 1, third sister / Reva. While I'm not rooting for her to succeed in her mission, I somehow find myself rooting for her as a character. You know what? I think that's very well said, Jamie. I think a lot of us feel the same way. I don't know if it's how good the acting has been, or subtle hints that she may be as bad as of course, she portrays herself to be, or may not be. I've been waiting patiently for her backstory. We've only got 2 episodes left, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, Jamie. Jason's number 1. Obi-Wan reconnecting with the Force, even if he's not back to full form yet, is very interesting to see him struggle while trying to use the Force, but succeeding when in a situation in which he had to do. Hendricks number 1, Obi-Wan and Leia holding hands at the end of the episode, which is a really sweet, important moment, showing the compassion between these two characters and the respect, which is great. Good call. Mary's number 1. Speaking of, Mary, it looks like you and Henrik have the same idea. The ending scene with Leia and Obi-Wan is so emotional. Leia putting her little hand on Obi-Wan's hand, then him looking at her with such love and concern and taking her hand in his, so good. It was really good. I really liked it a lot. Brian's number 1. Obi-Wan getting more confident using the Force again. He has to struggle to hold the window and be able to deflect the blaster bolts. I was jumping him down as he fluidly moving the lightsaber again. Yeah, that was cool. And, if he's not getting closer with the Force, he couldn't have deflected any of those bolts, so that was important. Daniel, the back to tank scene was so powerful and shook me as it should. They were both so intense. There was so much tension. I agree. I think that was a terrific scene. Liberty. For me, just seeing Obi-Wan start to become the Jedi we know, he can be so powerful. He has found the Force. He turned on the light. Seeing Jedi robes come back was so exciting. It was great. And I think we're going to get some more, too. Josh says, I hope Tal lives to be an Andor. Well, that would be nice. That would definitely be nice. So I think it's pretty obvious what next week is going to be. I thought I uploaded this, but maybe I didn't. Oh, I didn't. Next week is going to be your top 5 moments from part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, I downloaded these, but I just forgot to add them to the list. Rats. Well, I better fix that. How about now? Ta-da. Yep. Top 5 moments from part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi are next week. And look, again, 2 episodes left. We only got 2 sleeps. So, man, I am really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with these characters. In fact, Mason and I were just talking about this before the show. Let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, so this is where you can ask me questions about Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, what have you. I want to point out a couple of things. This Saturday, we've been talking about it for a while. If you're in the central Illinois area, on June 18th from 4:30 to 5 at the Peoria Riverfront Museum, I will have a book talk and author Q&A, followed from 5 o'clock to 5:45 by my book signing. I will be able to sign copies of Star Wars I Am Your Father, Lessons for Parents, Protectors, and Mentors, the Star Wars book, and the Star Wars Character Encyclopedia Updated and Expanded Edition. That is going to be fun. There is going to be a limited number of copies available for purchase at this socially distanced event. So if you have your copy, bring it on in. I'll be happy to sign it for you. If you don't, there will be some copies there for you to be able to purchase. I've heard from a lot of you that are going to be there. Jason, I'm going to finally get to meet Jason face to face. Says I'll be there on Saturday. Get your Sharpie ready. That's awesome, dude. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Really, it's going to be awesome. Josh wants to know if I'm going to SDCC. I'm actually not, buddy. I wish I was, but there is almost only so much time in the day and so many trips I can swing per year. But someday I'm going to head back for sure. Let's see. We've got some stuff here. Daniel says, love Kenobi's costume change. The classic looking tunic and tabards are back. Yeah, wasn't that cool? And like the blue he used for the part 2 is really sweet too. Minta says, I swear every Kenobi episode so far has given me a heart attack. Well, I'm sure it's going to get a lot more intense, my friend. Mary wants to know it was Mason's birthday. Happy birthday, Mason. Well, thank you. His birthday was wonderful. We had family over. We swam. We laughed. We played with his new presents. We had a great day. He's getting big, man. He's 9 years old already, which is crazy. Brian says next week is part 4 plus 1. That's right. Part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Blake wants to know what's my favorite Kenobi moment from all shows and films. Well, as I don't know if you heard the Star Wars Celebration podcast stage. That was our topic. Top 5 Kenobi moments. And it was pre the Kenobi series because we hadn't seen parts 1 and 2 yet because that's all that was out at that time. But I don't know, not counting the series that we're enjoying right now on Disney Plus, my top moment is from Twin Sons, Star Wars Rebels, when Obi-Wan and Maul face off for the last time. But that may be altered as we continue to watch the rest of the series. What about you? What about you, Blake? Let's see. Brian says, how's Mad Eye Mason doing in baseball? So we had a tournament on Saturday, and he did great. He pitched, he caught, he played first base, he had a couple of doubles. He did a great time. I was really proud of him. Liberty, I'm finally on to get to ask you about the awesome suit you wore at Celebration. It's got to be a neat story there. It was very cool. So that suit is from a company called Oppo Suits, OPPO Suits. They used to sell a Star Wars line of suits. And right before the solo premiere in 2018, I was working with them on some promotional stuff. And they mailed me that Darth Vader suit. And it's great. It fits great. I wore it to the premiere. I wore it to some Star Wars things. And I wore it my first day hosting the fan stage at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim a couple of weeks ago. And I love it. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Josh says, I know the feeling. Yeah, we kind of do it the best we can. You know what I mean? Totally understand. And then those Star Wars jeans that some of you asked about are from Levi's. They had 4 or 5 different customizable patterns. And I picked the one that had the Falcon and Star Destroyer and Death Star and a lot of cool iconic Star Wars spaceships. And they had like Vader, Leia, Han, Luke, like from the classic promotional stuff from the late 70s. But I just like the ones with the ships, so that's the one I got. But I get lots of great remarks on them every time I wear them. They're fun. You know, there's only so many places I wear them, but when I do wear them, I have a great time because we get to really talk it up. So speaking of a great time, I know that Celebration is next year. London is going to be fun, but it might not be easy for everybody to get to. But this is a little bit closer. It's in the States next summer. If you've ever wanted to go on the Galactic Star Cruise, I know it hasn't been open that long, but I'm going to go back in the summer of 2023 alongside MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and I want you to join me on the Galactic Star Cruiser in Walt Disney World this summer of 2023. I've talked to quite a few of you who are going to join us. They only open up the options to book, within a certain window of time, and we're still a little far away from summer 2023 dates. But once Becky and I get those ironed out, I'll post the dates for you and let you know when it's time to start booking. Because, look, the Galactic Star Cruiser is a blast, but it's 10 times more fun when it's with your people. So if we can get as many Coffee with Kenobi listeners there as possible, that would be fantastic. It will, in fact, be a Coffee with Kenobi field trip. And listen, if this is successful, I want to do a lot of these. I want to travel with all of you and celebrate Star Wars together. So I hope we can get a lot of people to do this, because that will certainly open the door to future Coffee with Kenobi and MEI and Mouse Fan travel tips related to Star Wars. I got a lot of creative ideas. Disney all over the world has got a lot of great options when it comes to Star Wars. And I hope that we'll all get to hang out next summer at the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. Speaking of a blast, again, this Saturday, June 18th, is my book signing at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. It is in Peoria, Illinois, downtown. I will have a book talk and author Q&A from 4:30 to 5. Then from 5 to 5:45 is the book signing. And then, I didn't mention this before, at 6 o'clock that night, A New Hope on the big screen. This is the biggest screen in Central Illinois. So you're going to get to watch the original Star Wars with me on the big screen. I'll sign your book and we'll do an author talk Q&A. It's going to be a blast. Mary says, more travelers and get-togethers with this group is such a great idea. Thank you, Mary. I hope so too. And I know you're one of the people that has expressed interest in the Halcyon, so that's going to be great to hang out with you and Chaz there. Well, I will see you next Monday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be on vacation, so that I'm going to have to come up with something else. I'll be thinking about it, but we will do the best we can. Mary, have a great week. Jason, have a great week. Looking forward to meeting you on Saturday, my friend. And Blake says, love you, Dan. I love my CWK family. You're all the best. Thanks, my brother. It's so good to see you. Looking forward to the next time we can hang out. Liberty says, looking forward to any time with all of my Star Wars peeps. Yeah, absolutely, Liberty. It's the best. That's why this community is so great. Daniel, may the force be with you, my friend. Brian, may the Monday be with you. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, hope to see you on this Saturday at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. And if not, I will definitely see you next week. And then look for a review of Part 5 of Coffee with Kenobi later this week on your podcast feeds. Thanks again, everybody. And remember, this is the live podcast you're looking for. See you next time.